the Bristol 2-meter net. Calling the Bristol 2-meter net. Net control this evening, Kilo 4 X-ray Mike November. Name is Chris, located in Bristol, Tennessee. This net meets each Tuesday at 9 p.m. on a 146.67 repeater. This net is affiliated with the Amateur Radio Emergency Service, the National Traffic System, and the Bristol Amateur Radio Club. All amateurs are welcome to check in. At this time, do we have any emergency or priority traffic? Please call. Do we have any information for the National Traffic System? Please call. Okay. Tonight's net for announcements will be, this will be a special net tonight in dedication for last call for W4FXO, Lonnie Ward, which we lost, who is now a silent key, and is a very dear friend to very many of us, and we would like to dedicate this net tonight in his memory. At this time, if we don't, do we have any other announcements? Okay. Before we start taking check-ins, I just wanted to say that I myself have known Lonnie for a long time. He was a very, very good friend and a very, very good mentor. We will be sharing memories tonight for those who check in if they want to share their most fond memory of Lonnie. Please do so. I can remember probably the fondest memory of ever meeting Lonnie was when me and Adam first went to the Bristol Field Day when they had it up on the lake, and we were sitting up there operating and everything, and we got to talking to Lonnie, and we actually joined the club that night, and we just had so much fun at the field day, and we felt so warmed and welcomed and appreciated of being there. And that's what ham radio is all about, and that's what the club was all about, and that was what Lonnie was all about, was making people feel welcome and appreciated. And he was a very, very dear friend, and he will be truly missed, and may God rest his soul. So at this time, that was my memories of Lonnie, one of my fondest memories of him. So at this time, we'll be taking check-ins from any mobile or portable stations.
K4XMN, please check in, KL1ZA.
KL1ZA.
This is KT4SQ, checking in.
Dale, go any other mobiles or portables?
KC4HUH.
4HUH. Been a long time since I heard you there, my friend. Having a bad memory night. What was the name again?
The name's Mike. I'm in Bristol, Tennessee myself.
Mike, copy. Any other mobiles or portables? KL1ZA, Jim, do you want to stick around or make comments now?
I will stick around, Chris. I've got some things I'd like to say about Lonnie, so I will stick around.
Okay. back to you in just a minute. KT4SQ, do you want to make comments now or stick around?
Just a comment. I take of what you said there. So, and I thank him very much. So, this is KT4SQ. Thank you.
Hey, Dale. Appreciate you checking in. KT4HUH, Mike, you want to make comments now or stick around?
I'll stick around.
We'll be back to you guys in just a minute. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll open the floor for all check-ins.
N4NT, Adam in Bristol.
Emmett in Bristol. RD, Ralph and Chilhowie.
We got N4NT, W4AWJ, and N4XRD. Any other check-ins?
November 3, Victor, Bravo Radio, Dennis in Kingsport.
Dennis, what was the call again?
November 3, Victor, Bravo Radio, N3, Very Big Radio.
Got you in there. Any other check-ins?
Net Control, please check in. KD4, CCO, Dallas, Bristol.
KD4CCO, and then there was another station that doubled with Dallas, but I heard Dallas in there. Other station, try again.
Control, please check in and out. Kilo, Oscar 4, Echo, Victor, Echo, Eddie in Jonesboro.
Oscar 4, what was the last part of it, Eddie?
Echo, Victor, Echo.
Kilo Oscar 4, Echo, Victor, Echo. Got you in and out, Eddie. Appreciate you checking in. Any other check-ins before we go back for comments?
Yeah, Chris. And good evening, Chris. Check me in as well. KT40, Ben in Bristol.
K4FJW, what was the name again? Got you in there, Tom. And then KT40, got you in there, Ben. Alrighty, we'll pause here for just a minute, and let's go back up to the top of the list. KL1ZA, how you doing, Jim?
I'm doing pretty well tonight. I was really sorry to hear about Lonnie's passing, but I knew he had been ill for a very long time, so unfortunately I was not surprised. The thing that I remember most about Lonnie and Tony is how welcome they made me feel. I've only been down here for not quite 8 years, and I showed up at a meeting like a lost puppy, and they made me feel totally welcome. And one time they even showed me how they had their radio set up in their van. And I'm going to miss both of them. I did Tony's last call. I don't even remember how long ago it was when Tony passed. And it's been within the last year and a half or so. But with that, I will say 7-3 and turn it back to you, KL1ZA.
Jim, appreciate you checking in with 73. Hope you have a good evening there. Alrighty, let's get down to KC4HUH. Mike, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing well, guys. And yeah, I remember Lonnie. We went through our novice, tech, general, and all that. We went through that all together. Went to many a ham fest with him. He was a good friend, and he will be missed. KC4HUH.
Hey, Mike, appreciate you checking in with us. 73, hope you have a good evening there. Alrighty, let's get down to N4NT. How you doing, Adam?
Well, good evening, Chris, and everybody on the net. Let me just, I'll throw out a quick reminder. Unfortunately, due to interference with a signal cycling the repeater, we had to put a tone on it until we can get that fixed. So if anybody's having difficulty checking in, set a transmit tone of 67 hertz, and that'll get you in. And hopefully we can take that down at some point if we can figure that out. But anyway, just want to throw that out there because in case anybody's having any issues. But yeah, and the both nets tonight. I haven't been doing the 2-meter net lately, just because it's a little more complicated to set up. But both nets tonight are being recorded and broadcast on YouTube. So if anybody wants to refer back to those or anything, yeah, really disappointing news there with Lonnie's passing, and I could spend all night talking about memories of things that Lonnie has told me over the years, or said and done, and I've seen, and field day being one of my most fondest memories of seeing Lonnie at field day, and just some of the antics and things. He's always been good for some laughs, and I really enjoyed that. But I remember when I first joined this club, Lonnie was one of the first folks to walk up to me and say those fateful words when it came to being club president. He looked at me and said, "We think you'd make a good one." And yeah, from that moment forward, I took a few turns at it, and thanks to his persuasion and a few others, and honestly have enjoyed every minute of it. So thanks to Lonnie and Tony for that bit of influence. And let me reset. And yeah, just all the ham radio discussions and stuff over the years. And we're gonna do a last call and tribute and stuff on the Fusion Net coming up after this one. But I was looking at Lonnie's QRZ page and just reading some things that he had wrote himself. And one of the things that I noticed years ago that he wrote on there was he tried to spend a little time on ham radio, even if it was just for a little while each day. And that's I've had difficulty living up to that, but I remember those words, and I've tried to do that from time to time, just with the inspiration of Lonnie. And I used to have discussions with him and Tony about Lonnie would do the operating and make contacts, and Tony loved to take care of his QSL cards for him, and when those would come in and go out and everything, and he just was a true inspiration and asset to the hobby. He served with the Bristol Club for many years and was the emergency coordinator for East Sullivan County. So anyway, that's just a few words I had about Lonnie, and thanks everybody that's checking in to do the same. And I'll turn it back to you, Chris. This is N4NT.
Yeah, and appreciate you checking in. Yeah, I remember him saying it to you when we went up there and was checking out the Bristol Field Day that one summer, and it was fun. That was a fun experience we had, and memories we'll cherish. So, well put, my friend. Well put. Appreciate you checking in, my friend. Have a good evening. Alrighty, let's go down to W4AWJ. How you doing, Emmett?
Well, good evening, Chris, and everybody on the net. Yeah, Lonnie will be missed, as Tony was missed in the club. They were very, very important part of the club. One thing I'm going to miss is him sitting over there right beside of me every time we had a club meeting, coming in, him and of course Tony going to the front. He'd come over there and sit down beside of me and say something about the coffee or something. But yeah, Lonnie was a good man. He was a good ham, an old-time ham, experimental type. If you've ever been over to his house and saw his cage and all that other stuff, and he really did a great job, especially there with Aries, keeping the radios at the hospital. And I remember, him coming up to me and said, "You won't be part of Aries?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." And that's where it started from. And I still got the card with his signature on it, so I'm going to cherish that too. But anyway, not only was he a good ham, but he was a good family man, him and Tony, but also he served our country as maybe a reminder, and he was very proud of it. And I think we're proud to have him in that role, and I really appreciated his good friendship. But also one other thing I want to say, he was also a man of faith. He was plain spoken, maybe used words that bothered people, but he said what he was going to say. Let me cycle this. But he was just a plain man, a good man, and I think a godly man. And if I could say anything, I would say, Lonnie, thank you. And 73 and W4FXO, WE4AWJ, back to net control.
Well put, Emma. Well put. That was so true of Lonnie. Every word you said. So true. Appreciate you checking in, Emma. That was really, about of anything I could have ever said. That would sum it up. He was a very true man. Spoke from the heart. Told you how he was up front. Didn't beat around the bush. But yet, a true man of faith. And that was evident in how he treated his friends. Very evident. So, yeah, I believe you really said so a great deal and was very true. Appreciate every word you said there, Emmett. 73, have a good evening, my friend. All right, let's go up to N4XRD. How you doing, Ralph?
Good evening, Chris. K4XMN in the net, N4XRD. It's truly touching to hear his friends talk about him in such great terms. Makes you realize that you need to leave friendships and a legacy behind, because that's what people are going to always remember, is how you were as a person. Maybe some of the things you did, but just what your personality was, and what you believed in were probably the greatest things that you could share with other people. I really appreciate hearing his friends talk about you. K4XMN and 4XRD.
Ralph, appreciate you checking in there with 73. Hope you have a good evening there. All right, let's go down to N3VBR. How you doing, Dennis?
Doing good. Good to hear everybody in there. N3, very big radio. And actually, I have a memory of Lonnie. When I first moved down to Tennessee from Pennsylvania, I got a job working for East Tennessee Transportation, ETT, same company he drove for. And we talked, first time we met, he could tell, had a northern accent, started giving me a hard time about that. But that's one thing I learned about Lonnie. If he's giving you a hard time, he likes you. So Lonnie and I used to get along, and then one day he noticed the antenna on my car. And I said, yeah, I'm a ham radio operator, and he told me he was a ham radio operator, and from that day on, it was always, we'd talk each other on the repeaters, but he'd always get my trailers ready, and he was just always a happy person to talk to. And I am sorry to hear that he's gone, but he's a believer, most important thing. So when he closed his eyes, he was in face-to-face with his Father. And I always got that from him, too. He always invited me to church with him. Never had an opportunity, but had a real good time with Lonnie the time we worked together over at East Tennessee Transportation. W4FXO N3, very big radio.
Yes, appreciate you checking in there. 73, hope you have a good evening there. Yeah, when he was talking about radios and stuff, when I got to talking to him when I first met him and stuff, and I've got a lot of ICOM equipment, and he told me, he said, I feel sorry for you. And he said, I said, why's that? He said, well, you know what ICOM stands for, don't you? I said, no. He said, I can only monitor. And I said, oh, okay. He said, well, you need just some Yazoo stuff. I said, okay. He was always ragging on me every time he see me with ICOM radio. He'd say, yeah, I can only monitor. So that was a good memory. I remember he always tell me about that. So, Dennis, appreciate you checking in there with us. 73, my friend. I hope you have a good evening there. All righty, let's get down to KD4CCO. Dallas, how you doing tonight?
Well, good evening,
Chris, and everybody on the net. Well, everything everybody has said about Lonnie is true, and very true. I remember him well from mostly what I remembered was teaching me about packet radio, packet and APRS. He was into that early on, and I was too. That's what got me interested in ham radio, was packet. And Lonnie was very helpful to get me started. I really enjoyed working with Lonnie. We're gonna miss him. So that's all I've got to say. I'm kind of short on words tonight. This is KD4CCO.
Dallas, appreciate you checking in there with 73. Hope you have a good evening there. All right, after Dallas, we had KO4E Victor Echo Eddie, who was in and out. All right, let's go down to K4FJW. Go ahead, Tom. In there good, loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm not able. For the club will be remembered for a long time. I know when I was serving as officer, I told him he had any comments or any suggestions to give them to me, and I'd go after every meeting and talk to him a few minutes. I picked up quite a bit of information from him, and I think it helped me a lot, and I think it probably helped him some too. We all know what an important part of the club he was and how dedicated he was. I'll say 73, and I echo everything that's been said here tonight about Lonnie. He was a good man, a good friend, good ham, a good club member. Really helped us all. 73, K4FJW.
Okay, Tom. Appreciate you checking in there with 73. Hope you have a good evening there. All right, let's go down to KT40. How you doing, Ben?
Hey, good evening, Chris, and the Bristol Amateur Radio Club net. It's great to hear all these wonderful memories about Lonnie, and yeah, you know, like a lot of us that have been involved in the club actively, Lonnie was just a good friend, and from being able to, you know, do field days. I know Chris and Adam and I, you know, a number of years ago, kind of took over a lot of the field day activities from Gary and Lonnie, and but boy, Lonnie and Tony were still, and Gary too, for a lot of years were just an active and integral part of field day, and Lonnie with from generators to hauling stuff like Tom mentioned, hauling the trash and that kind of thing. But boy, we really had some good times, and if anybody's ever been out to a Bristol field day, to me that is part of Lonnie's legacy to the club, is the field days that this club puts on. I know when we took it over, when you know they had run it for a lot of years. You know, we've been going out to the lake, and we were going out there for probably 25 years, and it's been one of the field days of both fun, fellowship, and some fine operating, I think, in the region, and that's something that really I think is a tribute there to Lonnie, and you know, his excitement over field day. As he said one time, it ought to be a national holiday. But just so many memories of other things we're involved in, even just you know, going out to eat. That he and Tony enjoyed going out to eat, and Amy and I always enjoyed getting to tag along with them from time to time. And a lot of times we'd go over to Elizabeth and to the Mayflower and eat some seafood. That was always a favorite. But anyways, lots of good memories. But I know Lonnie's not in pain anymore, and he he, like several said, let this breathe. He woke up. He was in the presence of our Creator, and so that was very, very peaceful to know that. But anyway, W4FXO, this is KT40. Lonnie will miss you. Chris, I'll turn it back to you. 7-3.
Okay, Ben. Appreciate you checking in tonight. Very, very fun words. All right, that brings us down to the bottom of the list. Do we have any other check-ins for the Bristol Amateur Club, Bristol Amateur Radio? Dan, please call.
Chris put Gary N4KZS on the list. He sent me a message and said that he is listening via YouTube and remembering his friend Lonnie. So I'm running a NetLogger session. I put him on there. If you'll just put him down for a check-in for Lonnie. It's N4NT.
Okay, roger that. We got N4KZS. Gary, appreciate you checking in there with us. Any other check-ins? Any other check-ins for the Bristol 2-minute net? Please call. All right, last call for any check-ins. Alrighty. We had 12 check-ins tonight, so that was very good. Very good crowd come out tonight for final call for Lonnie. And as always, don't forget, immediately following this net will be the Fusion net. So digital net start about 9:30. So maybe a little unorthodox tonight, but as someone who worked in law enforcement and as a dispatcher, and Adam knows quite well probably where I'm going with this. Something that I think would be a good tribute to Lonnie would be just a final call for him, and I'll do that right now. W4FXO, K4XMN. W4FXO, K4XMN. W4FXO, this is K4XMN. Lonnie Ward, you served your community and the ham radio community with pride and dignity, and we greatly appreciate everything you've done, and it has been an honor to know you and to call you my friend, as many of us tonight so do. So with that, I'll say 73 and W4FXO, Godspeed, my friend. This is K4XMN, closing tonight's net. Return the 146.67 repeater back to general amateur use. Saying 73, and good night.